talking about the hand positions and
Yeah.
slightly.
Sometimes they have generally they're all good. Sometimes there's different ideas about how you should hold your hand.
Right.
I was taught with a straighter hand, but some people kind of teach with a more curved hand like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say when it comes to that, as long as you're not doing anything egregious,
Right.
it's not like it's whatever is the most natural to your body.
Okay.
And you can, and as you get better, you're gonna be able to kind of pick and choose what you like. Next several weeks, we're gonna be developing your right hand, your ability to do alternation, and your ability to do arpeggiation with the preparation. That's gonna be developed alongside your ability to read the music. So those are two big things. The first thing you gotta do is a simultaneous movement to get your finger out to where it needs to be. That's number one. The next is preparing it. So loading your finger under that string and putting the appropriate amount of weight onto that finger, and then putting that weight into action. So there's one, which is going out there. 2, put it down. 3, follow through.
Okay, I think that's more helpful. I think,
and 3 and 1 kind of go at the same time because you're doing follow through, and then you go to the next one. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this. This is a movement, but in between every switch you get prepare. Is this you got kind of the idea of it, but you really want that immediate, that simultaneous motion. So thumb. So as I go, like I've got thumb flex, eye goes down. Eye flex, thumb goes down. Influx, thumb goes down. That's the whole principle of like all the arpeggios we're doing is everything gets prepared. Everything is going to be very, solidly executed because of that. So I went a little bit less of a gap. I want it to be like this. Like there's always contact.
Gotcha.
So there's no period except for maybe like a millisecond where I have nothing on my in contact with the string. So you had a few good ones, but like a good amount of them were also a little bit delayed with the next preparation. So we're doing that. We're doing sequential, but we also did a full plant. Do you remember that one?
Full plant.
So I guess maybe it might be certain terminology, but full plant. What I mean by that is just we're planting instead of preparing like one after the other. We're just preparing all 3, and then when I'm done with all 3, I go back to thumb. So pluck my thumb, prepare all 3.
Full plant.
Full
plant is called full plant.
So planting is this preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Full plant is just full these fingers. So full plant style would be. Yeah. A little bit more immediate and a little bit less tension. It's gonna be kind of hard, but just envision yourself doing it in your head first, with still a relaxed hand. All right. Now when you hit P, it's gonna be one movement. Yeah, that looks good. So that's how you want to do it. You want to do it really slow. Every time you pluck, you want to make sure everything is relaxed. That'll make you go like miles faster than like the speed I went when I was like that I had to do for. All right. Or maybe this is like jumping the gun way too much, but this is a study we had to do in my skills class. We've got 6/8. That means we have 6 eighth notes. Mm-hmm. And just believe in me that there's 6 8 notes in here.
Wow.
So this
door closed. Was the door open? The wind push it?
Oh yeah, gosh. Yeah, that's what happened. So that's an 8th note, by the way. But so that they're gonna just, and this is an exercise where they throw a bunch of them in there. So here's one with 3/16 notes, 2/16 notes, 3/16 notes, 2/16. It's just switching around because this is Rite of Spring, which is one of those Stravinsky's like huge I guess it's sort of primitivism is like as a movement in the 1900s where they're really like trying to bring out some dirtiness in music, like in a good way. What this treble clef does is it marks where the G is. This is actually a stylized G.
Mm-hmm.
Its curve, its like curl goes around the G. The line G is marked
Cool.
by this symbol. And so if you ever see a bass clef, which is I can draw one out for you later. But that actually is a stylized F, and it marks the F line.
Huh.
So
it's not just some kind of artistic little.
yeah, it's like
it actually has purpose and
yeah,
meaning.
it's saying, hey, this is G. So read everything based around this is G. And there are other clefs, which just like C clef. It's just it can be anywhere on the staff, and wherever it is on the staff has to be C. So so the lines are always moving around for those
That's
people.
cool. I never knew that. That's
Yeah,
neat.
yeah. G, D, 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 G.
The process ought to be like maybe start with the
Mm-hmm.
and then start with the planting all of them.
Yeah, that arpeggio.
And
That sort of that list I gave you of arpeggio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through that list.
And then maybe work on this.
Yeah, and then work on reading.
Okay.
So, and when you work on reading, it's actually really good because you can take a break. You know, you don't have to sit with your guitar. You can actually just say like G, D. When you're adding in your left hand, the more meticulous you are as you begin, the better. For this whole week, you're only going to be playing one note with this one finger.
Feel
this. It's like it's this. This is how hard I'm switching. It's how hard I was squish on the guitar.
Okay.
So you don't have to squish very hard at all. Your hands, however, don't know that. Your hands, sort of in conjunction with your brain, your brain's like, all right, do task, and then your hands are just like, boom. But you have to train. You have to like stick something in between that reaction. You have to say, okay, do this task, but then add all these extra things like do this task, but you really have to. It's really important to make sure it's just like this. So, one thing that I work on whenever I'm trying to make it really relaxed is I'll do it off the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get that reaction, do this task, do this really light task, do this really easy thing. Oh, do this really easy thing. It's not that hard. You know, rather than saying, oh, I'm reading, I'm doing all this stuff, like I have to, you know, grab that note, and then you're all like, you tense up.
Mm-hmm.
As you grab that note, it's going to be like nothing, because you're like, oh, I'm just doing this. Your hand isn't actually squeezing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Your thumb is actually a little bit straighter. So you just relax your thumb on the back of the fretboard,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks a little bit more like this. So yeah, your thumb looks great. Yeah, that's how I want you to look. That's like a perfect looking hand right now.
Okay.
Aside from, for right now, it's perfect.
Ignoring these
So,
guys.
Yeah, and they're not looking too bad. The end goal is to have your fingers sort of wrapped this way. So no, don't bend your wrist at all, but have more, or from what it was. Yeah, this is a nice natural bend. But the more now don't move any elbow, just pronate. So you're really good like that, and you moved in like that. That's not what we're going for. We're going for this, like this, moving sort of in that direction. Not that much necessarily, but having that ability to kind of wrap your thumb, like to give your finger, your pinky access. It has like it's the shortest finger, so it needs it needs a little bit of like you need to have that joint kind of close to that. So a hand like that looks like this. It's got a nice straight thumb, well supported, and it's really relaxed. Straight wrist. Yeah, you look good. Your hands look good. So, that's sort of what you want to do. Now the challenge is to incorporate it, like into whatever you're reading. If you work construction, there's like, you know, a good technique to do every like kind of job, like hammering or sawing. You know, putting your weight into the saw in the right way. And at first it's like awkward and you don't do it right, and then you can do it. So it's like all these different techniques to make these different sounds, kind of, or like these different movements. Learning how to do the different movements, and then and the more you expose yourself, the better to the different movements. So that's why I'm just gonna go through a lot of the different repertoire, a lot of different pieces in this book. But for now, we're gonna just work out of the orange one.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I guess it
Number
was
one.
Thomas Kittikai.
I haven't heard of him, but he hasn't. Yeah. So Aaron Shearer, that was my teacher's teacher. He taught at the
That's
North
pretty
Carolina
cool.
School of the Arts.
Wow.
He was really highly regarded. It was one of the best guitar studios in the world, or in the U.S. at least. He taught at a school near me. He's written some of these studies, and then I guess this guy is the guy who's edited this new version. I haven't heard of him. So for next week, try to get to page 24. That'll be a lot. But a lot of it's reading. It's not all just reading your music.